live. Yeah, we going live. Hey, we going live. Yeah, we going live. Yeah, we going. Yeah, we going. Yeah, we going live. From the 50-yard line, we going live. From the 50-yard line, we going live. From the 50-yard line. Hey.
Hello, beautiful people.
Hello.
I am Jarrett, the football genius Burgess.
And I am Stephanie Fitzpatrick, a.k.a. the Advantage Coach.
And this is the 65th and special episode of the Field to the Real podcast.
Yeah.
Stephanie and I were having our production meeting, and we thought that it was a lot more appropriate to focus on the social justice issues going on in our country today, and their impact on the sports world.
Yeah.
Specifically the impact on the sports world, but certainly just how they affect our people, our country, and our world.
Yeah.
You know, so the format of the show will be a little different than it usually is.
Yeah.
But we'll still be weighing in on topics that have sports topics that have a social justice slant to them.
Yeah.
So, without further ado, we'll slide right into one of the topics that I would say for you and I has kind of both given us like some pause. We've spoken about this before.
Yeah.
I don't know if we spoke about it on the podcast, but you and I have spoken about during this time where an unarmed black man is killed by the police, or an unarmed black man is killed by a vigilante.
Or black woman.
I'm sorry.
Breonna Taylor.
Taylor. We can go back to Rakia Boyd. Sandra Bland.
Anyway, we know. Yeah.
Tatiana Jefferson.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, sisters. I
No. I just, I'm gonna look out for y'all. But he was.
Right.
That's not Jarrett. He was just talking. Y'all.
Right.
No.
Yeah. But I during these moments, and I think the reason why young black men came up, but we certainly need to speak about these black women because college athletics involves black men and black women.
Absolutely.
But specifically when we were thinking about the football coaches who are very outspoken, how they have been either curiously quiet during this time or have made statements that have been so
bland.
Down the middle.
Yeah.
Or bland. Did you say bland?
Bland.
Yeah, so bland that it's worth discussing. Absolutely. The motivation behind it.
Absolutely. I mean, because at first initially we were like, nobody's talking.
Right.
Like, where y'all at? Like, literally to have two white quarterbacks, two former collegiate quarterbacks to come out and say, this isn't right, or whatever their opinion of it is, or we stand with our, with our brothers, whatever, but not have any of the coaches who obviously somewhere between 70 to 95% of your team is African American.
Right.
And that's the reason football is at the forefront is because it is the big money maker.
Right.
For collegiate sports, and not just for the sport itself, but for those coaches.
Yeah. A lot of these coaches are the highest paid employees in the state.
Listen, Lavelle Moulton came out, and I loved it. Did you see what he said?
Is that the head coach from Central?
Yes, North Carolina Central.
Okay.
Yes. He called them all the way out.
Right.
Whether they was basketball or football, because he talked about it. He said that his statement was kind of along the lines, I'm not going to say it exactly, but I'm just going to read what I said, what I have here. He says, this is not about saying the right thing right now. This is about what you are going to do to help. What actions can you take to help? And so I was watching some guys on Yahoo Sports, a Yahoo Sports podcast, talking about LaVelle Moton's statement. And part of what LaVelle Moton said basically was, you guys, especially in football, are generationally wealthy.
Mm-hmm.
You have made millions of dollars off the backs of these kids.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you now for them? Basically, even the guy from the podcast was like, he loved that statement because he said, who's going to step up? His statement was this: who's going to step up and say, I have FU money?
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. He said, who's going to step up and say, you know what, I have FU money and I'm going to stand, and if it costs me my job, I'm
so
okay.
Yeah.
Who is it? Because you call these kids, you recruit these kids, you go to their houses, you sit in their families' apartments or homes or whatever, and you promise that you're going to take care of their kids, you go all this kind of stuff. You preach leadership, you preach all of this stuff.
Right.
But then when you get this opportunity to be a leader, show them you really got their back. Show them you really love them. Show them that you really care. You're silent.
Right.
And that just bothers me. Like, only 2 Power 5 coaches have come out to say anything. That was Tom Allen from Indiana and Jeff Collins from Georgia Tech.
Oh, wow, really?
They were the only 2 to even just acknowledge that something happened, that something's going on.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think two
I
of the
Jim
coaches
Harbaugh said something, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there have been coaches who said something, like the coach at, what is his name? Is it Josh Heupel? Coach at Central Florida?
Is that where he is? Didn't he leave there? I thought
no. That was the other coach, Scott Frost, that went to Nebraska.
Okay, yeah. All right. So that's Heupel.
And Heupel stayed. He made a very good statement. I don't have the entire statement on me at the moment, but you remember in the group chat earlier, that was the 2 coaches that I was saying. Those 2 coaches actually made some very good statements.
Right.
Both white men.
Yeah.
But I think the coaches that we were looking for to make
where's Nick
some
Saban?
Statements. Nick Saban.
Dabo Swinney did say something. It was
real
generic.
Nick Saban said something too.
Oh, he did. Was it real vanilla?
Oh, it was about as vanilla as Dabo Swinney's.
Okay.
And so the article that I read, the author of the article was trying to shoot Dabo Swinney some bail by saying he's just a football coach who's focused on football.
No.
And I think that is the biggest crock of
that
BS.
It is. That's huge BS.
Because when you go to recruit and you sit in these, you're a salesman.
That's right.
And you sell these parents on the belief that you care about their kids.
That's right.
Beyond the sport of football.
That's right.
And then when you come and try to make it say, I'm just a football coach, I take issue with that.
Yeah.
Because no, for some of these players, you are a father figure.
The only one they have. Exactly.
Right. And
somebody that they would expect to have their back because they believe you.
Right.
When they choose your school and they come and they're going to go out there and play hard for you every Saturday, that's because they think you got their back.
Right. And then the worst part of this thing was that one of Clemson's former players spoke up
Yeah.
And what he had to say was very shocking. He
You
came
were
out and
shocked?
said that,
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
well, from the standpoint of, you know, one of the things that Dabo Swinney kind of leads with
It's Christianity.
is his faith, his Christianity.
Yes. Yeah.
So to hear that he allowed one of his assistant coaches to call a player the N-word without any
They
repercussion.
came out and said it wasn't a player, that he wasn't speaking to a player.
Okay.
They came out and said he was not addressing it to any one person. He didn't address, like he wasn't addressing it to a person. I think it was just in the conversation and he used the word. I don't think it was meant like towards somebody, if that makes sense.
Okay.
It's the way that they came back and said, clarify. Even the player said this.
The player said
he wasn't
that too?
talking to us. He was just talking. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Either way, it was inappropriate. That doesn't make it better. I mean, it's better that you didn't call somebody's child. Yeah.
Yeah. It gives it context. But like you said, it's still, you know, still inappropriate. And there still should have been, you know, especially a white coach using that term.
I don't care if you were black. It's the wrong place.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Jarrett.
I know. I'm sorry.
I have such issues with that because it's the wrong place.
Yeah.
You know what? In the privacy of your home, when you with your homeboys or you somewhere in your own personal, but you're a professional in that setting.
Yeah.
So you're the coach. You're a professional in that setting. So no, you don't get. That's not okay.
Yeah.
If you as a grown black person decide in your own space and in your own personal circle that that's a word that you want to use, fine. Mm-hmm. That's on you. That's your privilege. However, when you're at work, I don't care what your work is. That is just not something that is appropriate to say. Ever.
True.
Not at work.
God forgive me.
Oh, Lord.
Because my 1 year coaching.
Oh, Lord. God forgive him. We're going to play together. God forgive him. No, but I'm just saying, I feel like we, you know, when we first started this show, our first episode was about professionalism.
Let's be professional, yeah.
So I'm just saying, we need to be professional at all times in those settings because those kids are our responsibility as in our job duties. You know what I mean? So, yeah. I mean, all of this is crazy. Oregon's coach, Mario Cristobal.
Not Oregon. I was thinking about
Oregon, not LSU.
I was thinking about Orgeron.
Not Cookie Monster. Not Cookie Monster. Oregon's coach, Mario Cristobal.
Yeah.
Tweeted on Friday, and I wanted to read what he said because I thought it was great. This was after he had a leadership council meeting. We are responsible for using our voices for change. We are responsible for protecting those that don't feel safe or are afraid to share their perspective. We are responsible for creating a new normal.
Yeah.
Thank you, Coach Cristobal.
Yeah.
That should be every coach's sentiment right there. Period.
Yeah.
Period.
He was on that Convicts University of Miami team. Remember the Convicts versus the Catholics?
Yes.
No, so I was saying that to say like it's I understand why he would have that perspective.
Yeah. He's been in that situation. Well, essentially.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Because I remember that team that got off the plane and they were all in their army fatigues.
Yeah.
And they were being called thugs and and all that.
Yeah. So he got to experience it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he got to experience that, which is something that's not, you know, typical of people that are not brown or black.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Drew Brees. Did I say
that?
Oh, I'm sorry. Sometimes I'll be thinking stuff and it just I'm right on
it's
that
okay. Yeah, his statement is absolutely white privilege.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
We have any more coaches like any more college coaches who we've heard
Walt
stuff
Bell.
From?
Walt Bell, the head coach of UMass.
Okay.
That's the one I was telling you about. That he did like a 4-minute video and he acknowledged his own shamefulness because he's having to ask God to bring 50 minority student athletes back to him safely.
Yeah.
Like that was so deep. I don't know. That like punched me in the gut. Like him saying that, like,
right.
Yeah, like, I mean, we had this conversation on a personal level where I was telling you last week, even like, literally, I don't have a son. I don't, you know what I mean? I don't have a husband. I don't have a son. I don't have immediate people in my household that I got to be like, oh my God, but I worry like you or Cord or, you know, I can name off some, you know, my cousins or, you know, it's a whole bunch of men in my life that now I'm like, oh, that's so scary.
Right.
Like that is so scary. And so imagine that a coach who really cares.
Yeah.
Who has a genuine care.
Right.
For his athletes says, man, Lord, please let all of my boys get back to me safely. What?
Man. Yeah.
Whew. That's just, and it's so real though.
Yeah.
It is so valid that he had to feel that way.
But I think that it's great that he feels that.
That's that's amazing.
That we get to understand that he feels that because nowhere in Dabo Swinney's statement, nowhere in Nick Saban's statement could I tell that they feel that way. To be honest, those statements really felt very disingenuous. It felt like I have to say something, but let me not ruffle any feathers. This is the time where you, as a white coach, need to ruffle feathers for these players that you say you care so much about.
Absolutely.
This country,
they need to see you.
Like, while I definitely understand peaceful protests, and I think that there can be some movement with peaceful protests, this country was built on people being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You know.
That's right.
This protesting in a way that makes people able to ignore what you're saying. The people who don't want to hear what you're saying don't want to be inconvenienced. And they would rather you protest peacefully and not say something to upset the apple cart.
Absolutely. Or the wrong person come out and say something.
Right.
Yeah. The wrong person, really the right person, but don't let the wrong person come out and say something.
Right.
Then we got to deal with this for real. Like, Mm-hmm.
So I'm just disappointed, you know. I'm disappointed. And I think this is...
Yeah, I really am. I am. It's some coaches that I thought that would, I'm not going to lie, that I thought would step up in this moment. Who are, let me just say, college coaches that I thought would step up in this moment. It is. I mean, even more so because when you become a professional athlete, you're a grown man. You're less you're less influenced by those people who are leading you when you're just working for your supervisor at that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when you're still in college, there's a bond and a different relationship that's forged with the people who lead you because you're still learning how to be who you are. And so when your identity is put into question about, am I good enough? Am I worthy? Why is this happening? Why is it that just because I got melanin in my skin or my hair is this texture or so many other things? Why is it that this is happening to us? And the people that you would expect to be helping to form and forge and shape you, like, they're absent.
Yeah.
And a lot of these black boys and girls who are participating in these sports, their own fathers are already absent.
Yeah.
So for you to be in this moment when they need you to come forward for them, absent, like I'm, Coach Pat, y'all don't know Coach Pat, but we know Coach Pat. Coach Pat's passionate message yesterday resonates because of this right here. This right here. And we're not going to talk about it, but I'm just saying, we know that, it's just, I told you rein me in today because, whew.
Yeah. Now I know you're ready to go in. Shout out to @Coach Progress Pat.
Yeah.
I don't know if we can repost the post that he put out there, but
I think we can.
Yeah. I think we can do it from our
IG.
The Field to the Real podcast IG page. Because I firmly, how I feel about it.
Of course, I know you do.
I was one of those players who really wanted to go to a PWI. Because I thought that was my quickest route to the NFL. So that was my ticket.
Yeah.
And the stuff that I learned at the Howard University. Every chance I get. I know. But that's a beautiful thing that you have pride in your school like that. You know what I mean? Like, that's a beautiful thing. But Yeah, but, so if y'all don't know, go ahead. Pat was just saying, if you feel in a certain kind of way because of this, or just because of what you witnessed since you've been at a PWI, like this is the time when you can transfer without penalty. And if you can go to an HBCU if that's what you choose to do. And I'm not, I don't promote one way or the other because I don't have a dog in the fight. Right.
I see benefit to both sides, honestly. I mean, but if it takes me going to an HBCU to feel like a human being and to be treated right, like a real man, and somebody's really got my back, then that's what I'm gonna say. Yes, go, please, goodbye.
Yeah.
Yep. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because right now, the people who you with, are they showing up for you? You show up for them, but are they showing up for you?
Are they showing up for you? Yeah. Yeah. Shout out to all my coaches at Howard. Shout out to all my coaches at Howard.
And I know this is general. We're not saying this is everybody, Jesus. Please don't. We're not saying this is every coach, because I do believe there are some genuine coaches who truly care about the kids. They don't just care about the kids. They care about their purpose. And the job that they have been given is beyond just winning football games. And they understand that. And they take it seriously. And those, I shout you out, PWI, HBCU, I don't care where you are. If you are one of those coaches, I shout you out right now. Kudos to you for standing up. I know there are so many names, but Lavelle Moulton, thank you for calling them all out.
Yes.
They even talked about how he should be in the conversation for a head coaching job at an ACC school, because for the last 4 years, he's taken his school to the NCAA tournament. But why?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Anywho,
we certainly could go on about this for a while.
Yeah.
And you can tell that we're passionate about this.
Yeah.
But to those coaches out there who haven't made a statement,
I don't care about you talking no more. What you gonna do?
That's true.
It's time to, because the statements don't even make any difference anymore. Right.
It's time to stop straddling the fence, and it's time to plant your flag. And this isn't a black or white thing. This is a right or wrong thing.
This is a humanity thing.
Right.
This is a humanity thing. I don't know. Did you watch that video I sent you yesterday?
Which one?
From Jane Elliott.
I didn't see the entire thing, but yeah.
Did you see at least to where they went to eat? where they had to go to lunch. They went to they took a lunch break.
I didn't see up to that part.
Okay. I'm gonna just let you watch it again.
Okay.
So. Yeah. Okay. You all right?
Yeah, no, it's the people upstairs.
Oh. I understand that. Okay.
Right. we didn't have conversations about the people upstairs.
Upstairs, right?
In both places.
It's not a movie, y'all. It's for real. Not the people upstairs. No, for real. Anyway. All right.
All right. Let's talk about some of this looting and our guy J.R. Smith and his response to it. When I tell you this warmed my heart,
that warmed your heart.
Oh man! So J.R. Smith was talking about. I think he was on the phone with Jordan Clarkson, and he said that Jordan Clarkson told him to turn on news and look to see what was going on, and he did that. And he just so happened, I think, to go out. Oh, he heard his alarm going off. He went outside to see what was going on, and he saw that someone had broken the window to his car, and that the person was still right there. So he goes outside and proceeds to lay hands on this young man.
According to TMZ, he beat the hell out of him.
Yeah.
Those were their words. I said, dang, that's how y'all got to put it. Okay.
And I saw that video, and I was like, good for him. And I'm so upset that he apologized about it.
Yeah.
Because if someone's destroying your property, and I'm not even going to talk about how I feel about some of the looters looting in the name of Black Lives Matter. But I'll just say that this young Caucasian man believed that what he was doing was for the people, and it wasn't, and he got taught a lesson about it, and I'm glad he got taught that lesson.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna talk about the looters. Okay.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm gonna talk about them because the individuals. There are two things that are going on here. One, there are people who I believe have been planted in order to make things look bad for the protesters. But then there are also individuals who are just taking this as an opportunity to just be criminal.
Yeah.
And so I want to talk to those people.
Yeah.
And say that you are the ones who are kind of propelling the stereotype and giving people who don't agree with what's going on ammunition to bring forth things that are onto the media, so that that's what people see. You're just making their case essentially, right. And so, boo to you.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I watched what's happening in Atlanta. Some stuff happened here in Charlotte. I ain't been paying no attention really, but what I saw happen in Atlanta, where they broke into Phipps Plaza and made a beeline for the Gucci store. Nothing at Gucci has anything to do with what's going on. So you just want to be a criminal,
right? And
you taking the opportunity while it's chaos to be a criminal, and that's a problem.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. Did you see that the young man said he was doing this in the name of protest? Is that why you said that he? Did you see something where he said that? Where the young man said?
Oh no, I didn't.
Okay,
I didn't. But everybody there was protesting.
You might have just been one of those opportunistic people. Because I'm gonna bet that whatever car JR had, One like that minivan he beat you in front of.
Nah.
Okay.
I'm sure.
I'm sure. And so to pick his car out of all the cars on the street,
right.
I'm going to guess that you were probably just either on that side that I talked about that I'm not going to talk to, or on that side where you were being opportunistic.
Right.
One of them two.
Yeah.
So either way, I'm not a proponent of violence, but I am a proponent of protecting your property. So yeah, because in JR's mind, you were still by the car. You broke the window. If you were just gonna break the window, break it, run.
Right.
But you were still by the car. So maybe perhaps you were about to do more than just break a window.
Right.
And so he was protecting his property at that point. So what happened to you? Oh well.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. I hate he apologized because it's an admission of guilt of something, and you don't have any reason to be guilty for protecting your property. If George Zimmerman can shoot a kid who was just going to the store to get Skittles, and you felt like he was a threat to your neighborhood, and you stand your ground as your reasoning for why you did what you did.
Right.
Him beating some dude in the street for breaking into his car it's acceptable. Yeah. If that's acceptable, then that's acceptable.
Right. And Lord, if some charges come up on JR,
it's over.
Yeah.
It's gonna be over. It's not gonna be a good thing. I would pray they wouldn't be that dumb.
Right.
No. I imagine at this point, because he's been very candid about what happened, that if they were gonna do something, they would have done it.
They would have done it already. Yeah.
Yeah. And you gotta you can file assault charges, but you don't have a victim, because I'm almost pretty sure that whoever did this isn't like, hey,
it was me.
He assaulted me.
Right.
Right. No, he didn't. So they don't have a victim. So either way, I am still, again, not a proponent of violence.
Yeah.
No, that is not what I'm saying. But I'm saying I'm gonna protect what's mine. Pretty much. Yeah.
Okay. So as always, the NBA gets it, and the coaches in the NBA get it, and it's like, where are these guys in college football and NFL?
Well, I'm gonna let you talk, but we can say at least one in the NFL. But one.
I mean, on a grand scale. I guess maybe Stan Van Gundy, Steve Kerr, and Greg Popovich aren't necessarily a grand scale, but this coalition that they are doing in the NBA, like the NBA just gets it, and you can kind of see with this.
Yeah. I mean, they're not even. The crazy thing is, the Players Coalition was started because of Colin Kaepernick. Like, what?
Right.
He played football, which y'all don't. Oh, okay. Where's the NFL Player Coalition? I'm just saying.
Yeah. NFL is right about optics, but let's keep it on a positive note.
Okay.
Steve Kerr, Stan Van Gundy, and Greg Popovich all made statements about the climate of our country, the leadership of our country, and the unarmed shooting of black men by the police.
Yeah.
And they were all very candid. They did not straddle the fence.
Nope. It wasn't vanilla
at all. Especially Greg Popovich.
Greg Popovich ain't vanilla at all. Okay.
And I want to, you have this quote? Because I want the people to hear exactly what he said.
Let me get it up. Hold on 1 second. Yeah.
He says things to ruffle feathers, and it's funny because people talk about how well, I won't focus on James Dolan, but people talk about the NBA teams and kind of the statements that they've made, and they said that the Spurs haven't made a statement, and I was like,
They don't have to.
Popovich says what he says. The Spurs don't have to make a statement.
Isn't he not the president?
He represents the Spurs.
Exactly. Okay. You know? So whatever. Yeah. I got it. Okay. So his quote: "The thing that strikes me is, this is long, y'all, just so you know. Mm-hmm. The thing that strikes me is that we all see this police violence and racism, and we've seen it all before, but nothing changes. That's why these protests have been so explosive. But without leadership and an understanding of what the problem is, there will never be change. And white Americans have avoided reckoning with this problem forever because it's been our privilege to be able to avoid it. That also has to change." Hold on, let me go to the next part. "It's unbelievable. If Trump had a brain, even if it was 99% cynical, he would come out and say something to unify people. But he doesn't care about bringing people together, even now. That's how deranged he is. It's all about him. It's all about what benefits him personally. It's never about the greater good, and that's all he's ever been. Wow. It's so clear that what needs to be done. That's what needs to be done. We need a president to come out and simply say that Black Lives Matter. Just say those 3 words. But he won't, and he can't. He can't because it's more important to him to mollify the small group of followers who validate his insanity. But it's more than just Trump. The system has to change. I'll do whatever I can do to help because that's what leaders do. But he can't do anything to put us on a positive path because he's not a leader." It's like what Lindsey Graham and Ted Cruz used to say when they had the courage to say it. He's unfit. But they have chosen instead to be invisible and obsequious. I was trying to get the word out. In the face of this obsequious. Okay. In the face of this carnage. In the end, what we have is a fool in place of a president. While the person who really runs the country, Senator Mitch McConnell, destroys the United States for generations to come. McConnell has destroyed and degraded our judicial system. He has tried to destroy healthcare. He's destroyed the environment. He's the master and Trump is the stooge. And what's funny is that Trump doesn't even know it. Trump doesn't even know it. I'm sorry. Trump always wanted to be a part of the in group, but McConnell is an in group of one, and Trump plays the fool. He's not just divisive, he's a destroyer. To be in his presence makes you die. He will eat you alive for his own purposes. I'm appalled that we have a leader who can't say Black Lives Matter. That's why he hides in the White House basement. He is a coward. He creates a situation and runs away like a grade schooler. Actually, I think it's best to ignore him. There is nothing he can do to make this better because of who he is, a deranged idiot."
Lord.
He did not bite his tongue. Oh, I'm not finished. Wait. Excuse me. All. I'm sorry, he ain't done. The protests are very necessary, but they need to be organized better. It's frustrating. When Dr. King did a protest, you knew when to show, when to come back the next day. But if you're just organizing protests and everyone is coming and going in every direction, it doesn't work that way. If it was nonviolent, they knew to be nonviolent, but this is muddled. More leadership would be very welcome. So those incredible mass demonstrations can't be used by people for other means. We can limit the bad, but only if things are better organized. Preach, Pop.
Man.
Preach, Pop. Pop done preached the whole sermon.
Man, what?
He preached the whole sermon, right?
Oh, he brought us up right there. And I love it.
I mean, I love it. There is no, what else do you say? Like, I love the ferocity in which he speaks, the
audacity.
Well, and just the not just him, but even Steve Kerr does not care. He will say anything, and I love it, and it's because that's what you believe. Like, these are people that make me believe that they truly feel the way they say they feel.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be that you calling out the president. That's what makes you genuine. I just need to know that because Stan Van Gundy hasn't said anything about the president, but I believe what he said.
Right.
And there's another person. That's why I said there was one football coach, who I mean, we've heard from another one since then. And that idiot, I don't know what's on his mind, but Pete Carroll.
Oh yeah.
Was on a podcast with Steve and Greg.
Oh wow. Okay.
Popovich. They were all on a podcast together, and his statement that I love was that he brought up the fact that we need to all we owe a lot to Colin Kaepernick. That was his statement. We owe a lot. He stood up and he knelt down for something that people were still willing to ignore. Right. And he was trying to bring light to 4 years ago.
Right.
And so I thought that was, especially with all of the mess that went down with him with Seattle, and being potentially brought to Seattle, and then, because he wouldn't agree not to kneel, they didn't bring him in or whatever. Yeah. But for him to come out and say that was huge to me. I really appreciated him, saying that. He was like, we owe him a great deal, and his strength and his foresight on the issue of police brutality. And I think, honestly, just side note to just bring this up, I think that it's sad to me, because I feel like at this very moment, at this present moment, he would be an amazing leader, like what Greg Popovich talked about, to rally us as a whole around this issue.
Right.
He would be the to me, he has the most validity.
Yeah.
To step up and be that leader in this moment.
And it's funny, I can't think of the guy's name, but I think he's over top of communications for the NFL. He came out and said that we were wrong.
Good.
We were wrong.
Oh, I know that. Who was that? Somebody else that came out and said it was a ex-executive for Lockhart, Joe Lockhart.
Okay.
He was an ex-NFL, and he said the Vikings need to sign him now.
Yeah.
I said the NFL owes him an apology, and he need a job tomorrow.
Right.
No tryout. No.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Forget just an apology.
Yes, he need a job.
He's lost
tomorrow.
4 years of his career.
Yes.
Because he peacefully protested.
Yep.
And now y'all asking for peaceful protest. The reality is that folks just don't want to be inconvenienced. Don't protest in the middle of my football game, because it makes me uncomfortable to see you disrespecting the flag.
No. See, that's what I need people to stop saying, because even Drew Brees' statement, that's why it pissed me off, because you're not really, really that upset about the flag. You more upset about somebody putting it in your face at a time when you want to be all patriotic and pretend that everything's okay, which is when the national anthem is being said, or when they're singing Star Spangled. All of that is when you want to feel very patriotic and feel like everything's la-di-da, but somebody put it in your face at that moment. That is not the truth for everybody. And they don't want to talk about
the fact that you can't see that.
You see that.
No, I think that there's a lot of,
no, you see
if you can't see it, you just don't want to see it.
It's willful ignorance. Just don't want. It's willful ignorance, absolutely.
But like the fact that we're still harping on this point of is disrespectful to the country, is disrespectful to the veterans,
Not at all. That's not what that was about. It had nothing to do with that.
Right.
I mean, if you wanted to fine. Here's my thing, then. You know what? You don't want them to do it during the national anthem and all of that stuff, which I feel like it's perfectly fine, because if you don't agree with it, you just don't agree with it. It's not the land of the free and the home of the brave for everybody. It just is.
Right.
It just is. Let's be real. So if I feel like that's my time when I need to be like, you know what, this doesn't apply to me. Let me just get on my knee, respectfully get on my knee and do what I do, then fine. But if that's such a big problem, then fine. Give them another time, halftime. Let them all come out.
Right.
Instead of having a show and just kneel and talk.
Right.
You're going to still be inconvenienced and uncomfortable. So it's not about the flag. This has nothing to do with patriotism. This is not, stop making me feel uncomfortable about things that I can't hear.
Right.
I don't want to think about
that I don't want to do nothing about.
I don't want to do anything. I don't want to think about that. That's what that is. Yeah.
I sent that to all my friends that are Saints fans today. What y'all think about y'all quarterback?
Yeah, I don't know what to say about y'all quarterback. Did they say anything?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, you know, Dirk was like, I ain't that much of a fan.
What? Wait,
Yeah.
you done did damage to your apartment? You
like,
sure?
He said, Drew Brees better shut up. I ain't that much of a
fan. Okay. Come on with it. Like, come on, sir. Yeah, you should have just left that statement at, I'm behind my teammate.
Right.
Just leave it alone.
Leave it at that.
That was white privilege at its finest. His statement was.
Yeah.
It was white privilege at its finest.
No, it definitely was.
Absolutely. Like, oh, okay. Sure, sir. Okay. I'm gonna need a drink after this.
I know. I'm just thinking about it. I'm like, Lord, like this has been one of the toughest episodes to do, because it's like it evokes so much emotion. Yeah. You know, it's like you hear some of these things, and it's like you just want to grab them and just smack them to their dick. I mean,
like literally, what's his name?
Opponent of violence.
We're not. Like Dan, what is his name? What's the Broncos coach name? Dan.
No, Vic Fangio.
The Vic Fangio. That thing right there. It would be one of those Martin moments when he had that man at the train station.
Right.
Beating his head like, bruh, are you serious?
Shake him like an extra sketch.
Right. Did you just say that? Did you let that come? I'm curious to see what's going to happen. I don't know how, like, that was my first thought about the Drew Brees statement. And now this with him. Right. Like, how do you go work with somebody?
That was my first thought. I'm like,
how do you go work with
Thomas, do you just forget it and go catch passes? Or, like, is there a conversation that happens? Because I can imagine being in that locker room and, like, having to sit Drew Brees down and, like let's discuss this. Yeah. Because if that's truly how you feel, I don't think I trust you. I don't think I trust you.
Well, no, you show me who you are. I'll still go out there and catch passes, but I know who you are. So don't fake. We don't have to play. We don't have to pretend. We're teammates on a professional level. That's it. And we'll go on about our business.
Right.
We're going to agree to disagree, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay.
I don't know if I'll be able to compartmentalize with that one.
I would have to, but I get it. But I would have to say my piece. I would have to let you know. Right. Now I see where you stand, and that's your prerogative. I'm not trying to make you change your mind or anything. You have that right. That's why this country is supposed to be the way it's supposed to be. However, for me and mine, I just don't agree that somebody that understands us or empathizes with us could say that. So, yeah. And the coach too. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, sir. Unless you've been sleeping under a rock, I don't know where you get that from.
Yeah.
How many coaches are African American? Come on, man. Really? How many executives are African American? Oh, okay. Yeah, but there's no racial discrimination in the
How many owners?
Just saying. Like, before you open your dumb mouth, maybe you should have like really looked into that. But that's
call
white
somebody,
privilege
talk to somebody,
again.
right?
But that's white privilege again, because you're not even thinking about it in terms of the equity.
Mm-hmm.
You're thinking about it in terms of stuff as blatant as somebody saying something or mistreating somebody in the locker room. And that's on such a primitive level when you're talking about a business that you can't make a blanket statement about the whole NFL. You should have just said, my locker room is one where we don't put up with or have that go on. But to say the whole NFL, bro, you have opened a whole can of worms that you did not want.
That you ain't expect.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what happens. And I'm gonna be shocked if you got a job.
There's the issue, right? Because a guy like that can say that he's not racist, right?
Yeah.
And his statement wasn't one of racism, it was one of ignorance.
Ignorant.
And when you have someone like that who just isn't informed, that's making decisions based on that ignorance. And I feel like there are a lot of people in power who are ignorant like that, willfully or not, that are making decisions. That is how the institution of racism continues.
Absolutely. Whether you're right, willful or not.
Right. It's not just about the racist. It's about the ignorant as well.
That's right.
So.
Yep. That is true. Wow. Okay. Yeah. But we're gonna see what's gonna happen with those. But yeah, come on. All right. Next.
Let's go on to Evander Kane. And I love his statement. Since you read all the pops, I'll read this one because that was a nice
it's long too.
Lengthy,
oh yeah, that was a sermon. Pop gave a sermon.
Right.
Yeah.
But Evander Kane is an NHL player. He plays for the San Jose Sharks. And he came out and made some statements. Black NHL player came out and made some statements, and we both were in agreement about what he said.
Absolutely.
He said he had a lot of good points. Okay, Siri, can you let me just say nothing about Siri? Siri just decides to pop up when I'm about to read.
Oh
God. We need so many more athletes that don't look like me speaking out about this, having the same amount of outrage that I have inside, and using that voice to their opinion, using that to voice their opinion, to voice their frustration, because that's the only way it's going to change. We've been outraged for hundreds of years and nothing has changed. It's time for guys like Tom Brady and Sidney Crosby and those type of figures to speak up about what is right and, clearly in this case, what is unbelievably wrong. Because that's the only way we're going to actually create unified anger to create that necessary change, especially when you talk about systemic racism. And what I was proud of is that not too long after that, Sidney Crosby actually made a statement.
Yeah. No, a lot of them came out after that.
Yeah.
He called them out and they answered.
Right. Did Tom Brady make a statement? Because I didn't see it.
Oh, no. Well, no.
Why? Well, I just want to point out
he called them particularly out.
Yeah. Sidney Crosby actually came out and made a statement. Which, I'd love to see. I don't want you to just make a statement because you were called out.
No.
I guess that you have to respond in some.
Yeah.
But I want you to feel compelled enough. And maybe, some white athletes feel like they have to have permission to speak on these issues, but you don't. If you are outraged about this stuff,
interesting,
then you need to say it.
Yeah.
You need to say that you're outraged.
Yeah. That's an interesting point that people feel like they need to have permission to speak on the issue. That's interesting.
I think I heard something like that from Andrew Schultz. Andrew Schultz is a comedian. He has a few different podcasts that he does. The guy works very hard, but he does a podcast with Charlamagne the God.
Oh Lord, okay.
Called The Brilliant Idiots.
Okay.
It's a pretty good podcast. He's a comedian, so he does a lot of joking, but he also, when issues like this occur, he is very outspoken about it. And he spoke a little bit about, and I don't know if it was a podcast or kind of one of like those comedic, satirical comedies that he does, where he spoke about not just white athletes, but white people in general feeling like they need permission to speak on issues like this.
I mean, that's a perspective I don't think I've really ever considered. So I know that's my ignorance, I guess. But yeah,
mine too. Because before then, I was like, well, why wouldn't you speak if you were outraged about it?
Right. No, but it makes a lot of sense that you might feel some kind of way about, like, well, what do I say, or do I have the right to say, or can I, champion a cause that may not be one that I experience. Like, I don't want to insult somebody by coming out and saying, so I had never thought about it like that. Well, listen, let me say this. Any white person who listens to us, any of you, I don't care whether you're a sports figure or you Joe Blow down the street.
Right.
If you got an opinion and you feel some kind of way about what's going on, then you have the right to share it. I'm giving you permission. I don't know about 100%. Anybody else.
Yeah.
I'm giving you permission. Listen, melanin all up through here, right? Share. Please do.
Yeah.
Please do. We need you. I said this to my friend. I said, listen, because she is not holding back, and I love it. This is one of my white friends. Yeah. She is not holding back, and I love it. Yes. She calling people out. She just, all around. And so I told her, I said, I appreciate you for your boldness to speak on something that might to the people, the majority of your circle of friends might seem like you're not in your lane. You know what I mean? Or this isn't your fight. So why are you in that? I told her I appreciated her for that, because if we're going to be honest about it, it's going to take white people, just like they said, like Evander said, it's going to take white people speaking up for us to be heard.
Use your privilege to combat prejudice.
It's serious. It's sad, but it's true. It's sad that we don't have a voice that's going to be heard like your voice will, but we will gladly take the assistance in getting this changed. And it's not just about, I hate we keep talking about dialogue and voices, and because it's more than that. Like, it's beyond your words, it's your actions.
Right.
We at a point where it's beyond words. We need actions to be happening. Like, don't just vote the line because that's what you've done all your life. Look at the issues. Look at what they're talking about. Vote based on what's right for everybody, not just a slim few.
Yeah.
Anyway, soapbox. Sorry. Be quiet now.
I heard a great analogy, and I couldn't remember where I heard it from. It was some comedian, and I can't remember what comedian it was at the moment, but it was an analogy of white privilege and the pretend ignorance, and it was something like, I can't remember it word for word, and it was something like, if you were on a team and you were up 30, you were on a basketball team, you were up 30.
Oh,
and you
Lord.
see that the refs are giving you an advantage. Are you going to go to the refs and argue against them giving you that advantage?
That's a great way to look at it. Yeah, because maybe, you know what, like us having this conversation is so enlightening.
Right.
Because I never thought about even that perhaps some people are I'm going to use the willful ignorance, okay?
Right.
Are being willfully ignorant because it concerns them that if they do speak out and we do get things better for Black and brown people, that's going to take something from them.
Mm-hmm. Right. But I don't want equality if that's going to cause me.
Right, to lose something.
Right.
Ooh. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I promise you never thought like that. Because that's not how I think. So yeah. Well, shout out to them for real, because they just got me thinking about a whole nother, like, wow, that's huge. Okay. Yeah. I mean, that makes so much sense. Essentially, that's why the college coaches aren't speaking out, because I might lose something.
Right.
Ooh, that's huge.
Like,
okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Let's go on to your GOAT.
My GOAT.
Your GOAT.
My GOAT. All right, I'm gonna take this one. You ain't got to, because I know how you looking. Look, I saw your face. You was over there like.
Actually though, because shout out to my boy G. We were talking about it earlier, and I think something that come on my TV, and it was kind of questioning how genuine his statement was.
What?
And yeah, I think it was Colin Cowherd that was making a statement, kind of questioning the genuineness of his statement. And one of the things, you know how I feel about MJ, especially on social issues. One of the things that I can say is that after hearing his statement, I truly believe it came from a genuine place.
Absolutely.
I truly believe that he is fed up from seeing these things.
Absolutely.
We talk, you and I have had this conversation. We talked about how in the past, you hear the statement about Republicans buy sneakers too, and kind of maybe not wanting to say something to upset or to right. Yep. To upset his brand or to take away from his brand. But I truly feel that Jordan saw this and was so disgusted by it that he felt like he had to say something. And it was so encouraging to see him, plant that flag as opposed to coming out and making a statement like Tiger Woods. Now, we're not going to focus on Tiger Woods.
Let's not.
Not going to focus on Tiger Woods.
No. He doesn't get any of our airtime today. Nah. I'm sorry. None. But Michael.
But Michael Jordan, it was encouraging
so let me go. Let me take it back for you.
Okay.
Why this is really for him.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan, every time something has happened, has had something to say. He has. Even the what you brought back to I had to go back and read it, but it brought it back to my memory. So Michael Jordan, some years ago, came out against, I can't even remember what it was at the time. Was it where the young? I can't remember. Where, but either way, what happened was a black person was killed by the police, and then there was a lot of. Was this what happened in Houston? I can't remember, but so a black person's killed, and then all of a sudden, a lot of vigilante activity starts, and a lot of cops start getting killed. So Michael Jordan comes, says, "Hey, none of this is cool. Okay, I'm gonna give money to the African American organizations, and I'm gonna give money to the police." He got villainized for giving to the police, but his point was, it's not right that you killing them either. So to take it even further back, remember Michael Jordan lost his dad to violence.
Yeah.
So his passion for this is real. It comes from a real, genuine place. I do not believe he has been, now, Lord, I am not a crab, but I am very upset, and I will just be honest. I ain't heard nothing from Oprah.
Ironically, some statements were forced out of.
Okay.
I hate the internet. They
The internet wins
them
every time, no.
okra and kale have come out and made statements. Now I don't know exactly
okra
what they said,
and kale,
but I saw the headline.
Good. I'm glad that no, you ain't. I'm just saying, Michael Jordan is not doing what he's doing for any purpose other than he believes truly in. I mean, at the end of the day, in Botunk, Midwest, where they may not know basketball at all, this little town might not watch sport. And Michael Jordan could drive through there. Guess what? All they see is a black man. And he knows that.
Right.
At the end of the day, he is still a black man.
Right. So
he has to be on a platform that, you know what I mean? So I'm appreciative for him because his platform is quite a bit larger than most. That he would use his platform to come out against this and not be biting his tongue, not not politically correct in his statement, none of that. Like, we just tired. Listen, enough already.
Especially after this renewed interest in him from The Last Dance.
Yes.
Now, obviously people love Michael Jordan, and Michael Jordan's always going to be, like, his Q rating is always going to be high.
Right.
But The Last Dance brought kind of a reinvigoration to his brand. And for him to come out and say something like this at a time, one where his brand is as big as it's been in years.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I was really happy to see that.
You know what I think too? I think that the boldness to do this in this time for him, you know where it came from?
Where?
Your GOAT. Because
I didn't want to be the one to say that, right?
No, I will say that. I will. I believe that your GOAT has inspired him to see that standing up for what I believe in, I don't have to compromise anything to stand up for what I believe in. If they're going to buy it, they're going to buy it. They love me, they love me. If they don't like me, they ain't like me in the first place. Like, real talk, It is what it is. So, and if you lose listen, if LeBron's situation had taught us anything, when he left Cleveland the first time and how they burned his jersey and all that kind of stuff, I bet there was the same people buying tickets week after week to be in the stands when he came back.
Right.
So they'll get over it. But you got to stand for what you believe in. And so to your GOATs, I give kudos because he never has not done that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to my GOAT.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, shout out to your GOAT.
I said I wasn't even going to bring his name up because I wasn't going to mention him during, because I didn't want to take.
Yeah. No, but it's the truth. I believe that sincerely. I believe that he's been a catalyst in even Kobe.
Yeah.
God rest his soul. Probably was somebody that because Michael Jordan grew up in a different era than these guys. Yeah. And so he had to be much more, you know what I mean? Like,
the media controlled the narrative
exactly. But now you can kind of control your own narrative with social media. So I think that has helped. And Kobe and LeBron have pioneered that for him to be able to see that. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Right. Shout out to you, GOAT.
Shout out to your GOAT, too.
All right, let's go on to Jaylen Brown.
Yeah.
You actually had to educate me on this because I did not know Jaylen Brown was from Atlanta.
Yes. Marietta.
And Jaylen Brown has actually been down here in Atlanta, leading some of these protests.
By the way, Jaylen Brown plays for the Celtics, y'all.
Oh, I'm just
we have so many people who don't know sports. So, y'all, he plays for the Boston Celtics.
Jaylen Brown is a guard for the Boston Celtics. I was about to say that he played for the Charlotte Hornets, and I would have been all wrong because he wasn't the one that left Boston to go to North Carolina. But
No.
It's really good to see athletes like really be on the front lines like this.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All
I
of the
love
people, all of the people that I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen some celebrities. I've seen he is, not that I haven't seen, I mean, well, not that there aren't any out there.
Right.
He is the first professional athlete that I've actually seen, current professional athlete that I've actually seen out there on the front lines during these protests. Now, to those of you who are, that's not a knock to you. I just haven't seen it.
Somebody else, I just saw of course he would be. Deshaun was in Houston. Yeah, okay. Deshaun Watson.
In Houston?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He was out there with them, with the protesters in Houston. Yeah. He was actually with George Floyd's family.
Good. Okay. I think I saw Trey the Truth out there too. With the Floyd family. But it's good. Good that you see this.
Absolutely.
You know, it's good that some of these professional athletes have an understanding that while I have accumulated some wealth, I've made it to, you know, a status, you know, that not many black men make it to, or not many men, period, because, you know, less than 1% of college athletes are going to go on to play professionally. Less than 1%.
Right.
To still understand that you could be George Floyd, and that this status that you made it to
doesn't change
that.
No, not at all.
It's great to see that they understand that.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it. And I love it, you know. I hate that what we talked about earlier, there are factions of people who have tried to hijack this for their own benefits or for the demise of the cause. But I appreciate that he, you know, came out, got on the front lines, and really seriously leading the charge. And that's awesome. I love it. That speaks volumes about how he feels about his city too. That he came home to do it. You know what I mean? So I just thought, because he could have easily, I'm sure they're doing stuff in Boston. I mean, I'm sure. So but he came to Atlanta because this is his city. Well, that's his city. I'm not there, but you know. But Atlanta's his city. And so I just thought that was really cool of him. And a side note, not a sports person, but I have to do this. Shout out to Keke Palmer.
Oh yeah, I didn't get to see entirely what she said. I did hear her talking to the police officer about walking with them and marching with them.
Yeah.
And he was saying that he couldn't leave his post.
Right. He said he was on his job, but he was with them. Yeah. This was a National Guard. It was National Guardsmen that she was talking to, and she kept saying, if y'all really here just to not to be antagonistic, then walk with us. Right. And he was like, I can't leave my post. And so somebody else said, well, will you kneel? And he said, yeah, I can do that. And so they all knelt down. Yeah. And I just appreciate her passion.
Yeah.
So shout out to her. That's just a side note. I'm sorry.
Well, since we're giving the shouts out to the non-athletes, Killer Mike. Killer Mike.
Listen, I love this man. I love this man. I love him. And T.I.
Yeah.
Listen, I love y'all.
Yeah.
Yes. His impassioned speech is what you're talking about.
Yeah. It was so eloquent. You know, it was so raw.
Yeah.
You can tell that it wasn't like rehearsed or put together.
No.
He still got out. Like, it's one of those things where someone says something that you're feeling. And
it make you feel better.
It's like, man, I don't know how I would have tried to express that. But for him to say it like, yo, that's exactly what I was thinking. And you said it in a way that other people could understand it. and with the emotion, you know what I'm saying? Like,
man,
you know, those tears
it
were
was
legit.
amazing.
He wasn't.
Yeah, no, he wasn't playing.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I cried watching him cry. Like, every time, listen, there have been so many Black men that have gotten on these stages and on social media to share their raw pain.
Yeah.
That it is just, it has been so, it's a good thing, but it's a hard thing to watch.
Yeah.
I appreciate that they're willing to be raw and share their feelings and emotions with the world and not care, because it's true, you are human and you're supposed to be feeling something. Right. So the fact that you're willing to share it with the world is amazing. But it's just been, it's still hard to see. The hurt, not the emotion, just the what's causing it.
Right.
Is making it hard to see. Really, one of the 4 Black CEOs of a Fortune 500 company. He's over Kate Spade and Coach. Came out on Good Morning America this morning, and he had one of those impassioned speeches. So it was really.
I gotta go check that out.
Yeah. Well, don't leave out the Stephen Jackson story, sir.
Stephen Jackson. Oh yes, I'm sorry. All right, so one of the for those of you who haven't heard this part of the George Floyd story, Stephen Jackson is a childhood friend of George Floyd. And they actually called each other twin.
Because they do look alike.
Because they do look alike. If you were to see George Floyd and hear him talk, they do look alike. One of the things that, you know, we saw Stephen Jackson on many platforms last week discussing his friendship with George Floyd, excuse me. And you can see how torn up he was about it. And one of the things I think I remember seeing on the Breakfast Club when he was talking to DJ Envy was he had spoken, and this was maybe a couple of days after it happened. He had spoken, said that he had just talked to the mother of George Floyd's daughter, his 6-year-old daughter, and he talked about that she didn't even know what happened yet. She wasn't aware that her father was no longer here, and that just broke my heart. And he talked about how his daughter, during that time when he had found out about what happened, how his daughter was supposed to go back with her mother, and his daughter, she's the same age as George Floyd's daughter, told her mom, "I think I need to stay with Daddy because he needs me right now."
Oh.
And when I tell you, that brought the eyeball sweat.
Oh my God! Yes. Oh my God.
Stephen Jackson has decided to help raise George Floyd's daughter, the 6-year-old's daughter. And just the to have somebody, you know, who you're friends with to come out, you know, after you meet your demise, to come out and really stamp that friendship.
Absolutely. It was genuine and true.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, because we all, you know, we kind of make those statements. We say, you know, we're going to be there for your family or something where that happens to you.
Right.
To see that be put into action, you know, it's very powerful. It's a big statement.
Absolutely.
Speaks to the character of Stephen Jackson.
Yeah.
I've always been a fan of his, even when he was throwing punches when I was in the Palace. And I'm not using that to say that, you know, Stephen Jackson was a bad guy.
No.
At all.
No.
But
he's a passionate guy. That's what that was about then too. Yeah.
And he was one of my favorite players because of that passion. and because of that toughness. But you know, to see him put his money where his mouth is, was just huge to see, and it warmed my heart.
Yeah.
You know. So shout out to you, Steven Jackson.
Absolutely.
For being the type of friend that we all should
pray
aspire
to have.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was deep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was deep.
I was about to try to end the show without talking about that. What's wrong with me?
That's what I'm here for.
Thank you. I appreciate it because, Lord, we be all messed up. I forgot to pray before we started.
Right.
Yo, just like Corey said, yo, you be having to keep us on track, Lord.
Oh, my gosh. I can't. I was so mad at him. Like, you're the glue. What are you talking about?
That's real, though.
No.
Real.
Anyway. Yeah. Okay.
But,
all right.
Yeah, we are at the end of another one. You know, we know that this show was a bit different than we usually do a show, but, you know, times call for us to change up sometimes. And this is one of those times.
Absolutely.
We did have a show last week, but after some of the events that went on, like we both felt like
this was
the episode to really dig in and just kind of talk about these stories in sport.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that have a social justice slant to them.
That's right.
So we certainly will appreciate your feedback. Send us hit us up on IG, Feel to the Real Podcast. That's number two. The numbers, Feel to the Real Podcast. Hit us up on Twitter, Feel to the Real P1. I'm going to do that every time I talk about it.
We can just roll our eyes. They know by now.
Yeah. Feel to the Real P1, and that's the number 2 for that one as well. Certainly send us emails at feeltotherealpodcast@gmail.com. What's another way you can get in touch? YouTube. Yes. The Feel to the Real Podcast. The Feel to the Real Podcast YouTube page. Go, subscribe, like, share, comment, all that good jazz.
All of it.
We done stack the shows into nice little playlists so you can watch them one after the other. If you need to go back and leave and come back and watch another episode at some other time, you can do that. And so we just appreciate your support. Certainly, we're glad that you guys continue to tune in. The folks that comment and tell us they love it, like, we appreciate that too.
Yeah. I
don't know who this is that keeps commenting, telling us that you want us to be friends. We certainly came and subscribed to your channel. And we would love to hear from you. So hit us up at one of those places that we called out. Our IG, our email, our Twitter. You can certainly hit us up there.
Yes.
But yeah, that's about it. You got anything else you want to say?
No, I'm done. I'm gonna leave people alone. Yeah, I'm good.
This one took a little bit out of us, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I'm supposed to work out after this. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Oh, I got mine in before.
I don't know. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
But we will see you guys next week. Peace.
Now put the cameras on me, 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 put the cameras on me.